Reading from Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 19, 28 and 29. 28 has no purport, so 29 is on the verse. But first of all, I'd like to thank Sankirtan Priya for bringing the mood of Vrindavan in that kirtan. Singing that bhajan so nicely. I felt I was in Vrindavan when you sung it. So that used to be Tribhugranath's favourite bhajan, that one. He used to love that. So thank you very much. So I'll just read the verse 28, then we'll go straight into the 29. He was blackish and very beautiful due to his youth, because of the glamour of his body and his attractive smiles. He was pleasing to women, although he tried to cover his natural glories. The great sages present there were all expert in the art of physiology, and so they honoured him by rising from their seats. So, verse 29, translation. Maharaj Parikshit, who is also known as Vishnu Rata, one who is always protected by Lord Vishnu, bowed his head to receive the chief guest, Sukadev Goswami. At that time, all the ignorant women and boys ceased following Srila Sukadev. Receiving respect from all, Sukadev Goswami took his exalted seat. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Jai. On Sukadev Goswami's arrival at the meeting, everyone except Srila Vasudeva and Narada and a few others stood up. And Maharaj Parikshit, who was glad to receive a great devotee of the Lord, bowed down before him with all limbs of his body. Sukadev Goswami also exchanged the greetings and reception by embrace, shaking hands, nodding and bowing down, especially before his father and Narada Muni. Thus he offered the presidential seat he was offered the presidential seat at the meeting, when he was also received by the kings and sages. The street boys and less intelligent women who followed him were struck with wonder and fear, so they retired from their frivolous activities, and everything was full of gravity and calm. Om Gyandaram Dasya Dasya Dasya. I was born the dark and ignorance of my spiritual eyes of my eyes. So, in this very nice purport, we could see that it's said, that's described, that Maharaj Parikshit was also known as Vishnu Rata, one who is also protected by Lord Vishnu. But also in the Bhagavatam, that there are many devotees have been protected by the Lord in the Bhagavatam, not just Maharaj Parikshit, of course, there's Prahlad Maharaj, protected by Lord Nrsimhadev. But there's also one exalted devotee, Jad Bharat, who the Mataji, who gave a very nice class on Friday, mentioned that, as she mentioned, he didn't act normal. He acted like a mad and dumb, mad person. And he came from a Brahmana family, but his elder brothers made him sleep and look after the pigs. And he didn't say anything, he just acted like a madman. And when his elder brothers, if they were short of money, they would bath Jad Bharat, make him clean, and make him go out and collect donations. So when he came back, they took all the donations for themselves and then sent him back to the pigsty. So then later, he was captured by some dacoits to be offered to Ma Kali. And he didn't protest. When they captured him, he paid his obeisances. He didn't struggle. He didn't call the name of Krishna out, the name of Lord Nrsimhadev out for protection. He just surrendered to the situation. And just as he was just about for his head to be cut off, Ma Kali recognized that this was a great devotee of the Lord, and she came out herself and killed the dacoits. So this is the sign of a great devotee, like Maharaj Parikshit. He was fully surrendered because he knew he only had 7 days. And we don't know if we have 7 minutes, 7 hours, 7 years, we do not know. So there are 6 symptoms of a devotee who is surrendered. That's 6 symptoms. Find it a moment, but and 2 of them are one who knows Krishna who knows Krishna as his only protector, and one who knows Krishna as his maintainer. So this is the sign of a fully surrendered soul. These are the 2 main, signs of a fully surrendered soul. Of course, the other 4 are there, but the other four follow the one who knows is Krishna as one's protector and knows Krishna as one's maintainer. So we can see that Jad Bharat, he knew Krishna as his protector, and he knew Krishna would maintain his life. And later, he was out somewhere, and one Maharaj, one king, what's his name? I'm getting with carrying a palanquin. Raghunath. He was one palanquin carrier short. He hurt himself for some reason, and he said, "I need someone else to carry the palanquin." So he saw this so-called mad, crazy person who didn't speak anything. So then he called him over. He didn't protest. Jad Bharat didn't protest. Yeah, then he carried the palanquin on his shoulder. But he wasn't walking straight and the king said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "You fool, what are you doing?" And so then then Jad Bharat, he opened his mouth and spoke so much sweet words, such elevated words. And then King Raghunath, he realized that this was no ordinary person. He may look like a fool, he may look like a madman. So, as Mataji said on Friday, we should not judge a book by the externals, or they say, judge not a book by its cover. And from that, just by listening to Jad Bharat, Maharaj Raghunath, his pride was smashed. Because one is in that position of Maharaj, being a palanquin, pride can be there. So, pride is one of the dangerous things to spiritual life. So then, also going back to yesterday's purport, there's another example of pride being smashed. At the end, was it 27, wasn't it? Yeah. He said, at the end, and his Pura's body reflected that of Lord Krishna. So, in the 10th canto, we hear how Krishna is feeling separation from Vrindavan in Dwarka. So he sends Uddhava with some letters of love. And the reason Krishna sent Uddhava was two reasons. First of all, he was a Jnani Bhakta. He was full of knowledge. And there was some pride there because of his knowledge. And the other one was to show how a devotee who is advanced should be feeling in separation from Krishna, from the Lord, should be feeling this separation by showing the examples of the residents of Vrindavan. So when he came to Vrindavan on the chariot, he noticed all the inhabitants of Vrindavan were just like statues. They were completely stunned because they were feeling separation from Krishna. The cows were they were just not moving. It's being said that the wrist of the gopis was so thin that the bangles were just like very loose. And so then he came, he was greeted by Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda, and also word got around that a great personality has come, and the gopis came. Now, with Uddhava, he was actually like Krishna. His bodily hue reflected that of Lord Krishna. And he was also dressed like Lord Krishna. But the difference between Lord Krishna and Dwarka, there is some difference. Krishna and Dwarka has 60 qualities. Krishna in Vrindavan has 64 qualities. Does anyone know the other 4 qualities Krishna has? 4 qualities. That's one of them. All right, it's okay. They are generally called the Madhurya, Rupa Madhurya, sweetness of his supremely beautiful form. Venu Madhurya, sweetness from his flute. Rati Madhurya or Rupa Madhurya, sweetness of his loving dealings. Leela Madhurya, as Truna said, sweetness of his sweet pastimes. So this is the difference between Krishna in Vrindavan and the Krishna in Dwarka. Because Krishna in Dwarka does not play the flute because his mood is different. And this is the mood of Krishna. The mood of Krishna we worship. We do not worship Krishna in the mood of Dwarka. For those devotees who worship Krishna in the mood of Dwarka, the result is different. For those who worship Krishna in the mood of Vrindavan with these extra four qualities, the destination is Goloka Vrindavan. But for those who worship Krishna in Ishvarya or in reverence, as like in Dwarka, one does go to a place, a small portion of Goloka Vrindavan, but they don't serve Radha and Krishna as in the mood of Vrindavan. They serve the queens of Dwarka. So the mood is different. So for us Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we worship the mood of Vrindavan, Nanda, the mood of Krishna and the son of Nanda Maharaj. And when Uddhava he had to learn this lesson from Krishna. Krishna is very merciful. Got it now. So Krishna was showing how we should feel separation from Krishna, from Vrindavan. Krishna knows it now. Yeah, here it is, yeah. Yeah, separation from Krishna. And so this Krishna consciousness movement, the purpose is twofold. First of all, we have to feel the separation from Krishna, and the second part is to preach the message of Lord Chaitanya. So Srila Prabhupada, he says in a lecture in Vrindavan on 18th of the 9th, 1969, this small excerpt. This process of devotional service is taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is not that very easily we can say, I have seen Vishnu or seen Radharani in Rasa Leela. No, not like that. Feel separation from Krishna. The more you feel separation from Krishna, you should understand that you are advancing. Don't try to see Krishna artificially. Be advanced by feeling separation. Then it will be perfect. That is the teaching of Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya, he was always crying. He was always crying for Krishna, always. And he never stopped. There's one picture, I forget where it is now. You see Lord Chaitanya as Nimai Pandit, as a young boy. Lord Chaitanya as a young boy, he's always crying and crying and crying. And one day, at Mahaprabhu's house, Lord Chaitanya was, after he was crying so much he couldn't stop, after coming back and taking initiation from his guru. And this was upsetting Sachimata, because she couldn't understand why. And that crying could be heard by Gadar Pandit. And Gadar Pandit, he ran from Srivasangam, which is, if you know you've been to Mayapur, is maybe 200 meters down the road. And he said, Mother, why are you crying? Because my little Nimai has been crying ever since he's come back. And then Gadar Pandit, he says, "Don't worry, I will pacify him." And then Gadar Pandit spoke to him. And then when he heard Gadar Pandit's voice, he became pacified. Because we know Gadar Pandit, he's an incarnation of Srimati Radharani. So he became pacified. And on the theme of Lord Chaitanya feeling separation, this is from Krishna book, chapter 34. When Lord Chaitanya was at Jagannath Puri, he was in the role of Radharani, feeling separation from Krishna. Those who are in the disciplic succession of the Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya should also feel separation from Krishna. Worship his transcendental form, discuss the his transcendental teachings. The spiritual masters should enrich the devotees to the highest devotional perfection, feeling constant separation, but immersed in the service of the Lord, is the perfection of Krishna consciousness. So we can understand from that excerpt from that from Srila Prabhupada's Krishna book that the spiritual master, by his teachings and the words he speaks, our heart should be gradually feeling separation from Krishna. The more we chant the Maha Mantra, we should be feeling separation from Krishna. And there are, and it's Ayendra Prabhu in one class gave a very nice way of how to desire to feel this separation. Because there's 4 types of separation. Purvarag, Man, Prema Pajitra and Pravas. So the Man, Prema Pajitra and Pravas is very, very elevated stages. Very, very elevated. But Purvarag simply means the desperation for Krishna to come. That's all it means. We have to, when we chant, we should be so desperate for Krishna to come. Then Krishna will come. If we're fully surrendered in our hearts, if our hearts are not full of, if our hearts are not crooked, it's not full of duplicity, like this, then Krishna won't come. Krishna will come when our hearts are, there's nothing there but prema, because this goal of life, this human form of life, is to get this prema bhakti. This human form of life, this sambandha abhideya prajana. So, at initiation, the spiritual master, he gives us our sambandha, our relationship with Krishna. And through the abhideya, the bhakti, we can realize, we can get that bhakti we can realize our sambandha through bhakti, and then the result of the bhakti is we get prema bhakti. This is the goal of life. Projan means the prime necessary, the prime necessity. This is what the word means. So this is the supreme goal. And so I'm going to read if I've got time. Yes, I have time, yeah. I'm going to read a little excerpt from one book, which it's called The Last Limit of Bhakti by Govinda Maharaj. And in this book, this is an excerpt from one lecture of his. And he's describing the chief result of Krishna Prem. There are 8 things that one has to execute and follow for those who are Nam Bhaja Kare, who has taken shelter of Hari Nam. The first thing is that one should have unflinching faith in the words of Sadhu, Sastra and Guru. Second, one should develop greed and eagerness, how to get the opportunity of association of a non-tattva vit Guru. Third, one should also develop greed and eagerness, how to hear Harigita. Harigita from the lips of a Sadhu Vaishnava. That is Brajana Kriya. Sravanam Kirtanam, hearing and chanting under the guidance of Sadhu Guru. Fourth, someone who observes all these things does bhajan, devotional service, under the guidance of such a Guru. Then all one's anarthas will be completely destroyed. Anartha nirviti, bhajana kriya tato natha navitrahi. These 4 things are there in sadhana bhakti stage. This is a preliminary thing. Then after nirviti comes nishta, the 5th stage. Nishta means there is no oscillation of the mind, no fickleness. The mind is fixed. As long as the anarthas are there, the mind cannot be fixed at the lotus of Krishna, or the chanting the holy name. Nama bhajan, one should develop such nishta. Then 6th, ruchi, taste comes. That taste comes according to one's mellow. Sva rasika ruchi, every jiva has his mellow. In the path of Gora, we have 4 main mellows. Santaras is disregarded. According to one's mellow, Dasya, Sakya, Vasalya or Madhurya, one develops a taste and relishes that taste while chanting the holy name. With the taste, the devotee will constantly chant because that taste is so nectarine and sweet. He relishes it and thus he cannot give it up. That stage will come. Sako samyam nami katu madhu atigo vadani charati nahi pare. That's quotation from Chandidas. Lord Chaitanya used to listen to Chandidas and Paramananda. Then one will say, "Oh, such nectarine honey is there. In the name of Sham, my tongue does not want to leave it even for a moment." That stage will come, but at present no such taste is there. The 7th means that one develops real attachment to the holy name. One cannot leave even the name for a moment. And one is tasting such nectarine honey coming out from the holy name. This is a Shakti. On the 8th stage comes Bhav. One who is Namabhav Kari should understand that these eight things, the first four are preliminary, and the other four are higher. Then at last, the bhav and the maturity bhav is prema. So, this, we may be in our conditional state at the moment. We're all conditional. We got some conditioning somewhere, otherwise we wouldn't be here. So this is the goal we should be striving for, desiring to get. And how we get this, we have to have the greed, the lobium for it. So without lobium or lobha, the greed in our heart, we will not have this. We will not get the fruit of getting, we will not get Krishna. And this, the Acharyas also explain that this prema is not straightforward. It's in a zigzag way. Just like Krishna here, we cannot see because he's dressed so nicely, he's bent in a threefold form. So he's crooked. And so therefore, we cannot see because he's dressed so nicely this morning. But if you go to New Mayapur, in France, you see Radha Govinda Madhava. You have in New Mayapur, you have Radha Govinda Madhava, Krishna Balaram, and Gaunitai there. So when you see Govinda Madhava, he's really bent in three places. Really, his head is like this. Look, in his eyes are looking at Radharani. And so, because the path of bhakti, the prema bhakti, the path of bhakti is set with thorns. But Bhaktisiddhanta Swati Thakur, he said this: the path of bhakti is set with thorns. So but we still have to tolerate these thorns. So this goal, so we have these elevated devotees like Parikshit Maharaj and others, Prahlad Maharaj. They all had some thorns on their path of devotional service. Pardon me. Prahlad Maharaj had his thorn. His thorn was, you could say, his father, Hiranyakashipu. And Jad Bharat had his, thorns when he got attached to a deer when he was Bharat Maharaj. But later, due to the association of a sadhu, because after the attachment to a deer, he had to take birth as a deer, but he kept himself separate from the other deers. He would go to the ashram of his Gurudev and hear Hari Gita from outside the ashram. And his Guru Maharaj, he recognized that this is my disciple who took a deer's body. So then later he appeared as Jad Bharat. So So we have to associate with advanced devotee, hear from him, take shelter from that devotee. Of course, the Krishna conscious movement is just not related to the body. So there are many Matajis who are very advanced as well in this movement. And there are some I know, and they take. One of them is my forget their name now. Anyway, so we hear from a pure devotee who speaks Harikatha, and by the association, and hear from the pure devotee, hear from the spiritual master, and listen to him. Listening means going through the ear to the heart, not from out the other side. And then we just have to follow what that personality says, not imitate. Because, as somebody said, I was talking yesterday to somebody yesterday, that he made a very nice comment, that it's no good imitating anybody. Because if we try to imitate a devotee that we do not know our real self, because all of us are individual souls. So we should not try to imitate another devotee. We have to become self-realized and know ourselves, that we are the eternal servant of Krishna. We have our fixed relationship, our fixed service to Krishna. We should not imitate anybody else. And of course this is done by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Guru Angaranga, and the mercy of the spiritual master, who will actually reveal all these things when we have the right adhikar or qualifications. So I'll stop there. Any questions or corrections or anything? Oh yes. Yes, go on. Yeah, say it, yeah. How many? 3. I will try to answer.
To hear. Should I start from the start?
Why does Krishna?
Why did Krishna have to write the love letters to the Vrajavasis? Because anyway, Krishna is sitting in our heart, so he could have just communicated to them.
But that's a super soul, Paramatma. He's in the heart as the Paramatma.
So he knows everything, right? So
yeah, he knows everything, but between the devotee and Krishna, there should be some living reciprocation.
Oh, okay. Like offering a flower.
Offering. Now, there should be, because he sent those letters. It said the chariots. He said there's a letter for every individual in Vrindavan.
Wow.
Not just one letter. So a letter for each and everybody in Vrindavan. So that letter, the content would be in relation, would be the reciprocation. And the separation is external. But internally, there's no separation.
Oh, so it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So I have 2 more questions.
Mm-hmm.
The other question is based on, you said this feeling of separation. I mean, we're not at that level to feel separation.
I'm not. Because man only belongs to Radharani.
But like sometimes you do feel separate. Like, for example, I went to see my family and I was in the mana and I was really missing seeing the deities. So can we justify that?
Yeah, you can. Yes. That could be the start. Yes.
So that's a right move.
Yes.
So that means that congregational devotees are advancing more than the devotees staying in the temple.
They could be, yes, very much.
Because they're away from the deity.
Yeah, they could be, yes.
Okay, and then the other question is, you said that, actually the 2 questions. You said that pride is really bad for spiritual progress.
Yeah.
But then like when we see Mother Sita, she had pride. And she said, nobody will come to save me, only Lord Ram. So like as women, sometimes we have to have like a little bit of pride because we have to be, no, only my father will protect me. No, only my brother will protect me. And like if you're married, oh no, only my husband will protect me. So is that kind of spiritual pride okay for us or no?
No, it's that pride that Sita had. That is the pride. The pride I'm talking about is material pride. The pride in my position. The pride I'm a rich man. I've got a big house, a big bank balance. I'm prime minister. I'm talking about that sort of pride. The Sita, that was the Vedic culture.
So if you have, in order to protect yourself, if you need to have pride, because then everyone will be approaching you and you have to be excuse me.
Because like Sita, we know she knew Ram was her protector.
Yeah, thanks. Yes. That's what I meant, yeah.
Yes. But for a devotee, they should
protector is Krishna.
Yeah, their protector is Krishna.
Okay. And the last question. You said that we should fill our hearts, like when we're crying out for Krishna, we should fill our hearts with love. How do we do that?
By taking shelter of a person who has love for Krishna.
The spiritual master.
Spiritual master. See, Mataji knows.
Thank you so much sorry for asking so many questions.
No, don't worry, it's nice. Okay. Hare Krishna. Kantaraj Bhagavatam ki jai.